We're talking today the impeachment trial, the wasted money that was associated. Now, many of you guys have friends, family that absolutely trust the MSNBCs of the world, the CNNs, the Fox Newses, and the New York Times, as well as the politicians that claim to have your best interests at heart. This is not the case. And believe me, I'm not going to say it's only one side of the aisle that does it. It is both sides of the aisle, so let's get that out of the way before you consider me just partisan. However, right now, since the Senate was just completed the sham impeachment trial of Donald Trump, I want to focus in on the fact that the impeachment manager brought up the fact that Donald Trump stated there were fine people of both sides of Charlottesville. Of course, he left a little part out, and they played the clip, the first part, the edited part, for all the nation to see. This is what they've been doing for years. And believe it or not, it was Joe Biden's supposed reason for entering the race, because he did not want to have a country that for another 4 years would say that the KKK and the neo-Nazis were fine people. This is the lie that the media has been preaching for the last 4 years. As I have just stated, I'm repeating it yet again because this is what they do to the public every day in order to embed that idea in their head. Yes, they have been lying. They have been repeating this on CNN, on MSNBC, at the New York Times during the entire duration of the Trump presidency. They leave out the context, of course. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you the full clip that the Trump's lawyers played when they were defending Donald Trump from this malicious slander. And it absolutely is slander that comes from the left-hand side of the aisle. Here we go. It's about 3 minutes long.
There's that famous quote, like one of the House managers said, "A lie will travel halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to put its shoes on." Well, this lie traveled around the world a few times, made its way into the Biden campaign talking points, and ended up on the Senate floor. The Charlottesville lie. Very fine people on both sides. Except that isn't all he said. And they knew it then, and they know it now. Watch this.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
Robert E. Lee are not the same.
Well, no, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers, and you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group too.
The press is treated unfairly, sir. I'm sorry, I just didn't understand what you were saying. You were saying the press has treated white nationalists unfairly?
No,
I just didn't understand what you were saying.
No. There were people in that rally, and I looked the night before. If you look, there were people protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. I'm sure in that group there were some bad ones. The following day it looked like they had some rough, bad people, neo-Nazis, white nationalists, whatever you want to call them. But you had a lot of people in that group that were there to innocently protest, and very legally protest, because, you know, I don't know if you know, they had a permit. The other group didn't have a permit. So I only tell you this, there are two sides to a story. I thought what took place was a horrible moment for our country, a horrible moment. But there are two sides to the country. Does anybody have a final? Does anybody have? You have an infrastructure.
What makes you think?
This might be today the first time the news networks played those full remarks in their context. And how many times have you heard that President Trump has never denounced white supremacists? Now you in America know the truth.
Now, when you see what Donald Trump stated in totality, you can tell instantly that the media was lying to you for the last 4 years. They were manipulating you. What they are reporting is slanted in a manner to meet whatever objective their big bosses have. Whoever is in charge at AT&T, who owns CNN, at the other networks have an objective, and they are trying to slant all the news in a way to manipulate your mind, not necessarily what's true, but just to manipulate you into feeling a certain way about Donald Trump, about whatever they want to manipulate your feelings about. There is, of course, very little truth left in politics. There are very few honorable people. On the left, you have Tulsi Gabbard. On the right, you have Dan Crenshaw, maybe a few other people, Rand Paul, maybe, and those are pretty much the exceptions. However, the left has become so demented that Joe Biden was able to base his entire campaign for the presidency of the United States around an outright lie. And you are seeing this lie. You can't deny that you've seen this lie. Throughout Trump's administration, they have lied about him, about what he said, changing the framing around any number of things, including drinking bleach, including the fine people hoax that we just examined, saying that he was speaking about Mexicans in general when he was talking about MSN13 being murderers and rapists. And once again, I'm not going to tell you that this doesn't happen on the other side of the aisle, because it does. And many of you guys can point objectively to times when Fox News has misframed something that Obama or Biden said. And I'm going to grant you that. The difference here is that the left owns most of the media, they own most of the center of culture, and they set the agenda. They are willing accomplices with the left-hand side of the aisle who are so thirsty for power that they are destroying our faith in America, in the idea that the politicians have our best interests at heart. Just look at these sham impeachment managers that knowingly brought up this lie during this political theater. And this is why I highly recommend that you distance yourself as much as possible from the mainstream media, who are so willing to do a quick hatchet job in an effort to buff up their ratings, in an effort to get their political candidates elected. As in the case of Joe Biden, who didn't even campaign. Why campaign when you have the entire media apparatus doing it for you and denigrating your opponent at every single opportunity? And they are doing the country a massive, massive disservice. So what I request is that you share this video with all your friends that might believe the media on a regular basis, that somehow still have faith, that believe the fine people hoax, which we've just proven that it is, so that we can upend the media's control over American politics and the average person's mind. So the motto of the story: divorce yourself from mainstream media, specifically, especially right now, from the left-hand side of the equation. These are the same people that have screamed about Russian interference and fraudulent elections for the last 4 years. And if you dare to question the results of the 2020 elections, if you dare to bring up any irregularities, then they will attempt to deplatform you and cancel you publicly and with great vehemence and vitriol, so that nobody else follows in your footsteps. They're too scared, shaking in their boots. Look, these politicians, these media personalities, they are demons. They are absolute liars. They positively knew about this information, about what Trump really said, but it makes no difference because they think that you are stupid, that you won't investigate for yourselves, and they take advantage of it. These people are not arbiters of truth. They are not reporters. They are propagandists. They are influencers. They are the modern day Joseph Goebbels. And the House impeachment managers and leftist politicians that bring you these lies full on, in public view, in the court of public opinion, have not only, in my opinion, committed a form of perjury, but also of treason, because they are dividing America up knowingly in an effort to gain power. So my recommendation that I promised you, I recommend long-form interviews where you can get much more information, where you can decide for yourself, where you can investigate all avenues and all different points of view, and then just drop yourself, divorce yourself from CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, because these are no longer reputable places, but mere propaganda outlets for the left. And if you want to drop Fox News, by all means, go ahead. Don't care. Get your information, get it from smart people, get it from both sides of the aisle. Remember, CNN, these politicians, they are not your friends. They are paid to parasitize your mind with lies. Do you want to give such people your business? So go ahead, thumb up this video, turn that like button on YouTube blue. Enjoy your day. If you're new, subscribe, notification bell, all notifications. Peace and blessings to every single person out there. Hope that this made a difference. Share this video with your friends.